Welcome to the Selling from the Heart podcast on the Salescast Network. You've joined a global movement of sales professionals who are dedicated to being authentic and building trust. We call it Selling from the Heart. Together, we are on a mission to bring sincerity and substance to the sales profession we all love. Get ready to be inspired and equipped as we join our hosts, Larry Levine and Darrell Amy.
Hey there, it's Larry, and I'm thrilled to share something incredibly close to my heart. My latest book, Selling in a Post-Trust World, is now available. In today's landscape where trust is harder to come by than ever, I've poured my years of experience into these pages to guide you through connecting genuinely and building lasting relationships with your customers. This book is more than just strategies. It's about transforming the way you sell by being authentic, real, and trustworthy in every interaction. It's for those who believe that integrity and sales can go hand in hand, and for anyone looking to not just meet their quotas, but to truly make a difference in their customers' lives. If you're ready to elevate your sales game and navigate the complexities of selling in a world where skepticism is the norm, Selling in a Post-Trust World is your must-read guide. And here's the best part. Even though it won't hit the bookstores until this summer, you can get your hands on an advanced reader's copy right now. Just head over to sellinginapostrustworld.com or click the link in the show notes, and let's embark on this journey together towards more meaningful, trust-based selling.
Hello, and welcome back to the Selling from the Heart podcast. Your co-host, Darrell Amy, here today with Larry Levine. What's going on, Larry?
Hey, what isn't going on, Darrell? We're in for a treat today on our podcast. I think we're going to have a good time with Mr. Paul Fuller. So many amazing things happening at Selling from the Heart right now, I'm telling you.
It is exciting right now. We're in the middle of summer. Things are heating up all around. You know what's great, though, is I love the Selling from the Heart community, the way the community gathers together. We get together every Friday. We got together earlier today. This is a community of like-hearted sales professionals and sales leaders that are gathering together to keep each other focused, keep each other fired up, keep each other encouraged, solve problems, and really lift each other towards the goals we want to achieve. And I just want to give a shout out to the Selling from Our Insiders group, because it is such a fantastic, to head into every weekend at the end of the week, if it's gone well, if it's gone poorly, to be able to have a group of people to gather together with, it is just such a great thing. And I'm just so thankful to all of our members.
Yeah, and I just want to echo what Darrell said just really quick, but I think it's important whether you're a sales leader or a sales professional. Sometimes we feel like we're out on an island by ourselves. Coming out with us in the Insiders Group, we meet every Friday. It's like-minded, like-hearted people. We mastermind. We bring thought leaders to the forefront. We have a good time, but more importantly, we talk about the things that sometimes don't get talked about inside sales. And we're all about transparency. We're all about building authenticity. We're all about building heart. More importantly, we're all about gathering as a community to help solve problems.
Absolutely. So if you want to learn more about that and get involved, get your free pass to our next up close and personal gathering of the Insiders Group at sellingfromtheheart.net/free-pass. That gets you in. The link's in the show notes. If you've been listening to the podcast as well, you know we've got Selling in a Post-Trust World. It's going to hit the bookstores in about a month. I want you to all pay attention to your email inbox and pay attention to what's happening around this launch, because we've got a lot of exciting things in store for you as this book hits the streets during the middle of the month of August. We'll give you more details as we come along. Many of you have gotten a copy already. Sellinginapostrustworld.com. That's where you get your advanced readers edition. And we're making a difference here in the sales profession, in this movement of authenticity and trust.
Absolutely. Just real quick, and then we can bring on Paul. I appreciate everyone who's been holding the book up, taking the selfie, helping promote the book. This is what it's all about. We're doing this together, and I thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Sellinginapostrustworld.com to learn more and stay in the loop. Well, today we're delighted to have Paul Fuller, our friend, With us, he is the Chief Revenue Officer at Membrane and the host of The Art and Science of Complex Sales, a phenomenal podcast. Paul's an acclaimed leader in the sales industry where he focuses on elevating sales teams through strategic coaching and effective mentorship. At Membrane, Paul leads initiatives to refine sales processes and enhance sales team performance. His approach to sales coaching is deeply integrated into daily practices, helping sales professionals develop core competencies such as strategic conversation techniques and effective use of qualification scorecards. His methods empower teams to balance creativity with proven sales strategies, technology, all of it aimed at driving significant results. Best of all, he's an all-around great guy. Paul, welcome to the Selling from the Heart podcast. It's great to have you here today.
I got.
All right, come on,
That was
Paul.
amazing. Like, I don't know that guy that you just described. Did AI write
Stop
that?
it.
Come on,
Stop it.
AI wrote that.
You know, that's
Hey,
not
Paul
true.
Fuller. Hey, Paul Fuller, you wrote that.
I did.
That's the story of your life. Hey,
Oh, that
listen,
was
don't
good.
sell
No,
yourself
thank you.
short, dude. Hey.
Thanks. I'm excited to be here, man. This is a good time, and I can't wait to get started.
We're going to have a great conversation today. And as we do dive into this topic, you know the question that every guest on the Selling from the Heart podcast answers. And that is, Paul, what does it mean to you to sell from the heart?
That is a great question. You know what? I'm going to go back to when I was just in diapers and remember back. Sorry, that's...
Hey, y'all can already tell this is where this podcast is heading.
No. Sell it from the heart it's fun because I ask a very similar question to many people on our pod, which is define sales. But my definition of sales and selling from the heart are one and the same, I think. I really believe what sales is a function of, I boiled this down over the years to get to three things. And I think it's service, leadership, and wayfinding. And so service is to help people authentically get what they need, even though if they don't know they need it, right? So if you're going into you need to work at that, and that it takes courage to serve well. Lead is the other thing. I mean, if we're going to lead somebody to a vision, you need to truly understand that vision and help them overcome the pain to get there. So, and again, that takes courage, that takes heart to actually do that and engage somebody. People are messy, See, and then wayfinding is like, how the heck do we do this together? Like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna serve, I'm gonna lead. I'm trying to come at you authentically. I'm working my tail off to do that. And now what do you need? How do we figure that out together? Let's just figure out the solution. I don't guarantee that I have it, but we can map a path. And if you want to work to map that path, I'm definitely willing to map it with you. So selling from the heart is authentically doing those three things.
Hey, I like this, Paul. And I just want to hit on the last point that you just made just for a second, because it was interesting because I haven't heard it said that way before. You really got to unpack wayfinding. Are you just referring to finding a way and you just say, this is wayfinding?
Okay, unpack wayfinding. Well, have you ever seen the movie Moana?
Yeah.
Larry could even sing the songs.
Moana.
Okay.
Moana. So I'm dead serious. I got this from, I had to take some time off due to health problems and about in 17, 18. And I got a chance. One of the blessings I got out of that was I got to drive my kids to 3 preschoolers every day. And it was amazing because we would sing Moana at the top of our lungs and make way. And so like I one day it just hit me. It was like when they're looking at the stars and they're doing this things with their hand and they're figuring out how to navigate. Right. And they're navigating together. That's where I got wayfinding. And it can be used in a lot of different ways,
Sure.
but it's how do I create that navigation mechanism by which we both get someplace. Right. And So that's the deep story behind it. But that really is where it came from. It's like, how do we, it's ingrained in us to try and get somewhere together. And we need guides to do that, right? And so how does somebody with more experience in a certain area lead, serve, and wayfind to figure out how we get to a shared solution?
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah, I really love that. Yeah, I love that wayfinding thing, because here's the deal. And I literally, right before we recorded this, I was on a 2-hour discovery call with a prospect and taking them through a model of discovery around their business and valuation, different things like that. And when you get to the end of that conversation, you've uncovered a lot of things, right? But now the question is, how do we get from here to there? And the reality is, there's two parts of that. What's the path? There's multiple paths. And do we want to go on that journey together? Is really what we're asking our clients. And, I've really been dialed into the word with this year. How can I do this with, and alongside? And I think a lot of this, so much of sales has been viewed as, head to head, the struggle. But really what we want to do, we say it's Selling from the Heart, is get around to the other side of the table, not be across the table in conflict with the person, but get to the other side of the table to where we go, okay, let's find our way together. You know a lot about your business. I know a lot about my area of specialty. Let's go on this journey together. And let's do this in a way that at the end of this, we both feel great about this journey. You've won, I've won, and we're in a better place. So I really love this concept of wayfinding. And I think you're on to something really special there. Paul, we're here to talk about coaching. So coaching, see, that introduction I gave you, I think I undersold you a little bit. People are going to find out as we go. So
stick around to find out. Sorry.
We're here to talk about today coaching, in the role of coaching in sales. And, it's interesting to take this concept of wayfinding. This is really, if you think about the beauty of coaching is very, very similar in a lot of ways, in that, it's two people going on a journey together to get to a destination. And in the context of sales coaching, a lot of times that's a sales leader or someone on the team that's coming alongside a sales rep. We both have vested interest in success here. So as you think about coaching, let's just set this up a little bit. We asked you what selling from the heart means to you. What's your definition of coaching in the context of sales, and how do you think about coaching in this world of sales that we all love?
Yeah. So I think the big thing about coaching in relation to other things like management and mentorship, those things all in leadership, right? They always get muddled up in my head. The core thing that I'm going to say about coaching is I need to understand it's helping someone get to define and clarify their own vision and form their path to get there, right? It's not me telling them, here's exactly what you have to do. It's not me saying, coming in as a manager and say, here's your numbers, you got to hit them. This is us spending the time and getting vulnerable enough and developing enough trust that the team actually, or the salesperson will actually tell you what his or her goals are, their pains are, their needs are, their vision is, where they want to get to. And you can help them self-discover then what it's going to take to overcome their pain, to reach their vision, to reach their goals. And I think that's it's messy. Coaching is necessarily messy because you're dealing with an individual and you're dealing with stuff that's outside of the normal business. Like you're dealing with a human. I think to coach well, you legitimately have to be coming from the heart. You have to be helping them wayfind. So in that way, I don't think it's much different than selling well. I think it's just what you're bringing. I think what you bring to the table is your experience. That's all you can bring, and your belief in them, right? So how can we help them walk their path better and be more successful in their eyes? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So here, this just begs the question, though, Paul, is we have sales leaders, we have sales managers. I'm just thinking of titles, right? Just follow along with me on this one. So we got sales leaders, we got sales managers.
Yep.
What's the struggle with sales coaching? And I'm saying this with all sincerity, because what you just described, in essence, is what a sales leader or a sales manager should be doing.
Well, okay, so you can get me on how in depth you want to go on this, because I have a lot of thoughts on it.
Let's roll with it.
Okay,
this is important.
No, this is important stuff.
Well, so let's dive in. So there's this. I've been in sales since 2003 now, so 21 years. For the most part, what passes as sales, what is sales leadership is, okay, I can set a vision. And I can set a path of how we're going to get there as a sales organization, right? Then what sales management really becomes is, okay, we're going to get there as an organization. Each individual now has to carry this amount of weight, and this amount of weight for us to get there is measured by KPIs. Right, is measured by our KPIs and territory and what we're going to do. And so we've gotten really, really good at getting people to do the activity and to understand that activity and to dive in directly into that activity. Nowhere in there have we ever stepped aside and had a focus, I think, in sales in the past 20 years that I've seen, on, great, that is more than just a factory piece in that puzzle, right? We have a vision. We have all these little people that can run around and execute number of calls, number of meetings, number of this, number of that. Oh, we got to get their skills better in here. We got to get hold on. The best and fastest way to results that we know is to treat them as an individual within the cog, right? Within the machine. So we need to know how their goals, how they're paying, what they're doing at home, all those type of things, how that is affecting and operating within the context of the entire machinery. I think we've really done a pretty darn good job at the vision part. Like, you get a lot of leaders that set great vision and understand how to get there. I think we've done a really good job at the factory line part, where it's, hey, I have these workers, I know exactly what they need to do. And I think we've overall, some top performing sales organizations have done also really, really well at that individual part. But I think that's mostly where you hear from salespeople, as well as most organizations, where it's a different skill set. It's a different people. People don't like to get messy with other people, especially ones they know around them in their workplace. They would much rather, we try and make that clean. We try and say it's HR, or we have to do it the exact same for everybody. It's not the same for everybody. Yeah. We can't be clean in it. We have to dive in with them. So I think that's why it's avoided. And I think it's incredibly impactful when it's not avoided.
I think it's so interesting because there's so much of this. I love that difference between the vision and then understanding that there's human beings. When we talk about sales, everyone says people buy from people. But I think we should maybe also say companies sell through people as well, right? So it's not just that people buy from people, but companies sell through people or with people. And so there is a quantitative side to the plan. Hey, we're going to achieve this revenue. It's going to take this many people. These people are going to sell this much and they're going to do this much activity. Like, there is definitely an X's and O's, and here's our sales process, et cetera. There's a quantitative part to that. And there's a qualitative part to that, which is, the effectiveness, the efficiency of the sales process and all of that. But there is the effectiveness of those individual contributors. And we say people buy from people all the time. It's our whole justification for the sales role, always being around in various degrees. But if people buy from people, companies sell through people. And we've got to recognize that this coaching thing is so important. I think of a sports team, and we'll be heading into the NFL season here soon. NFL teams, they've got coaches for skills. They've got quarterback coaches, offensive line coaches, defensive line coaches. But it's not just coaching for skills. There's actually coaching for mindset. They have coaches for weightlifting, nutrition, all these different areas. And if you're an NFL team and all you do is coach for skill, you're going to do okay, but you're not going to win any championships. It's the ones that coach, in these things beyond the skills. As you think about sales coaching, Paul, beyond the sales skills themselves, what other categories of areas do you believe that sales reps need coaching in?
I think the biggest one that we neglect is mindset, and I do think that's the biggest one that we neglect, and I think it's where it's most felt is in things like self-discipline and how people think about money, how they think about how they have conversations about money, that type of stuff. So a seller that's not confident is a really difficult seller, right? It's hard to lead anybody. It's hard to truly serve anybody if you're not confident in your own abilities to do that. And I think you find that most often there's a large portion that if they're not confident necessarily in their product, or they need to have all the answers, they just don't feel necessarily confident in being able to go in and lead and serve well and wayfind. So I think that becomes the biggest part of me that I know I coach in, which is mindset. And it's how to then shift that value perception of themselves. And it's a really big deal. And I think that becomes the most, because you could do a bunch of skills training. You could do a bunch of product training. You could do a bunch of training on how to use a system. But until somebody knows that why and why they're going after those goals, and they see a path that they've created, they're never going to really be confident in getting after it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. No, it does, and I want to take this a little bit deeper, because I really like what you just said. And I'm going to allow me to explain it this way: is there's a lot of great sales training out there. There's a lot of great sales skills training out there. My belief is that hits the outer success part of sales at an individual level. But if you want to multiply this, if you want to multiply the outer stuff, you got to go inward. And I think the things, Paul, that you're alluding to around effective mindset, and I'll even submit heart set coaching in this, is you got to go inward with your people. You got to understand what makes them tick. And the only way you're going to do that is to flip the script. Continue to do all the outer stuff that y'all are doing. But if you want to 2X and 3X this, go inward. The more you go inward with your people, the more success you'll have outward. You get where I'm going with this, Paul?
Oh, 100%. I mean, if we're honest, most people operate, especially in the sales realm, at the compliance state. Right. So I will comply with what my manager tells me I need to do. Now, that isn't, I don't think it's personally a natural state of mind. I think it's, you get there and you're given this and you're like, oh, I just need to keep my job. I think it's a fear-based state of mind. Right. But if you start to change that to the commitment, to the mindset of commitment. Right. Mm-hmm. And what do people get committed to? People get committed to helping them, solve a pain. It's the same thing in sales. Solve a pain, help me solve a pain, or help me achieve a goal, right? And how do we do that? Well, ultimately, we got to get messy with that person. We have to understand truly what those pains are, and we got to understand what their goals are. And because sometimes they don't even know. But to help them define that and then help them define it in their own way, right? They could just be feeling, oh my gosh, I'm super frustrated. I'm super frustrated because I can't get anybody to listen to me. Okay, let's dive into that a little bit, So what's the pain you're trying to solve, right? What's at the heart of this frustration, and what would make this better? And so in that, to me, becomes a mindset conversation. And you need to get messy to have that mindset conversation, because then you could truly help them by going inwards, as you say. And it works. I mean, it's not, people can call this fluffy or anything like that. You have a whole brand based around this, right? It is not fluffy. This makes a ton of business sense. It's helping grow leaders that sell instead of helping people sell more.
Yeah. And this pays off in the months and years to come. It doesn't just pay off in the current month. And this understanding that, if people buy from people, companies sell through people, their salespeople, people are messy. It's just, then it is important to look at our salespeople and look at them as human beings. And yes, skills, yes, product knowledge. But as Larry says in the subtitle of Selling in a Post-Trust World, it's these soft skills, and we could put air quotes around soft. It's these soft skills that yield hard dollars. And it's this mindset that takes a sales rep from being average to being above average and even a superstar, from being a short-term, player on the team to being a key player for the long haul. And this comes through building the mindset, and that comes through coaching. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. Can I ask you a few questions? I want to understand. I want to get a poll here.
Okay.
How many, 2022, the year is 2022. Gartner did a study. How many sellers do you think they found felt burned out from work?
2022?
2022.
Yeah, 8 out of 10. I don't know.
Probably.
Something. It'd be
it's a very high percent. I'd say it's a high percentage.
89%. Right. Okay. So there's a lot of stress on sellers. Let's talk about how many top tier sales organizations, and this is sales organizations that are hitting the numbers. They're hitting their quotas most often. In a percentage, how much percentage more time do they spend than an average organization on coaching?
3x.
Yeah.
You just nailed that. 300%. Top tier sales organizations spend 300% more time, and they hit quota. These are the ones that are hitting quota like 100% of the time. You get 65% higher profitability with dynamic coaching.
Wow.
65%. And now let's go to some like the actuals. How many sales leaders do you think say they coach?
Oh, I would say I'd say a vast majority say they coach.
80%. 80%.
Yeah.
You poll their salespeople. How many percent of their salespeople think they actually get coached?
Less than 10%.
Yeah.
It's better than that, but it's under 50.
Yeah.
Right. So, and that's the same thing. So people are saying so there's a disconnect there. Right.
Yeah.
And the disconnect, I think, it has to be solved by the sales teams. And this is one thing that I think is really important, that it is solved within the sales organizations themselves. I don't believe, or by the sales organizations bringing in sales specific coaches. I don't believe this is an outsourced to HR type thing that you need to do. I think this is a leadership top down. Let's build our systems to be able to execute on this coaching and make it important, make sure people know about it, because it's a huge productivity burst, and it's also a huge happiness burst.
Absolutely.
Those things go together.
It does. It does.
And you know where I just start thinking through this, and I've always said this, and I'm going to tie this into coaching. Is I understand their short-term goals, their short-term vision. We all have to have it, right? You got to hit your numbers in a 30-day window, a 60-day window. You got to hit it quarter over quarter. But if you consistently coach over a long period of time, and you blend short-term vision with long-term coaching vision, that's where you're going to create consistent sustainability. Yes. And you're going to avoid the roller coasters that exist on many sales teams when it comes to results.
Well, let's go into one of the reasons why I think this hasn't happened in the past 20 years, especially in an area where I've done a lot of my work, which is in software, right? What you tend to find is you tend to see traveling sales teams to like VC software companies, right? They'll spend a year and a half in one spot. They'll follow a leader to another spot. They'll follow a leader to another spot. They go where, and that leader, and they generally follow if that leader is one that invests in them and coaches, right, and works with them. But where you don't get that sustainable, that left a lot of the corporate culture in software because of this idea that we can get massive multiples from doing minimum work and just putting an assembly line in place for a year and a half. Right. And that's a lot of the times what has happened with these companies. If you really look at it, they get massive amount. Let's put this assembly line. Let's try and get the multiple in terms of and then let's just get out. So when you combat that and you are truly looking for long-term sustainable growth, there is nothing that is better than that, than developing the people that are around you. Like nothing.
Amen.
I love it. What a great conversation. I knew it was going to be. I told you I undersold you, Paul. And I know people are thinking one thing right now, and that is, how do I get more Paul Fuller in my life?
I would love it if they can connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm Paul Fuller. PS Fuller is the little thing after the LinkedIn, but I'm on LinkedIn. Just search for Paul Fuller. I'm the one that works at Membrane. They can connect. They can listen to The Art and Science of Complex Sales. It's on Spotify. And then Membrane is MEMBRAIN, like the brain, like insane, and the membrane. .com. I would love it if everybody came to that. We have a really cool thing that's out there right now. Is we have a coaching expert room that we just put out there, which is awesome. And we're doing some really cool product releases in this area. So we're having a lot of fun. So MEMBRAIN.com, or just connect with me on LinkedIn. I'll get you the right people.
Love it.
So
Paul.
good.
Thanks for hanging out today. You're
always good.
Selling from our champion. We appreciate you, man.
Thanks, Paul.
Thank you. Appreciate both of you.
Awesome. Great conversation today. And the power of coaching is, look, we see it. We see it with the clients we work with. And when leaders are coached, and we got a great coaching team. You got to get to know our head coach, Jackie Joy. But when leaders are coached on how to coach their reps, and then they're empowered with tools like Paul's talking about, this is where we're able to really drive results. We're able to drive job satisfaction, retention. All of it goes hand in hand. And I love that data that Paul quoted that's saying that companies that coach their reps or that are driving results are doing 300% more effort in coaching. So I think for all of us, that's like, well, what could we do in our companies? And for our sales producers listening in, what could you do to be more coachable? And, and if you don't have one through your company, maybe you should invest in one for yourself as an individual.
Absolutely. And right before you wrap up, Darrell, this is what's just racing through my head about coaching is if you pour into your people, just consistently pour into your people, they will pour into you. They will pour into your clients. However, if you're always dropping the hammer on your people and you're managing the numbers and metrics, and we all know that because we've all been there, watch how it deflates. Watch how it deflates and not inflates your people.
Drop the hammer on you. So this is such a great conversation. Hey, if you want to dive deeper into this, we'd love to connect with you here at Selling from the Heart. We've got a fantastic new resource. It's hitting bookstores next month, but you can get an advanced reader's edition. sellinginapostttrustworld.com. You'll get the book. Larry will sign it. You'll also be a part of our advanced readers team, championing this new message of how do we build and sustain trust? Incredibly powerful. Sellinginapostttrustworld.com. We're here in the middle of summer. You want to stay focused? You want to stay motivated? Hit the subscribe button. Stay tuned in. We've got great guests coming up throughout the summer. And thank you to everyone who's liking, and especially those of you who are sharing and reviewing the podcast. Larry, it's great to see this movement of authenticity and trust continue to grow right here in this profession of sales that we all love.
Makes me smile every day when I see Selling from the Heart and Selling in a Post-Trust World scrolling through social. Keep it up. I'm super grateful. Thanks for being involved in this community. We're all making a difference together.
You bet. Till next time, keep being genuine, keep being authentic, keep building trust, coach and be coached, and most of all,
Sell from the heart.